Welcome to Worship Tutorials. This is an Orangewood Sierra Live acoustic guitar. This represents sort of the top of the range guitar that you can get from Orangewood. And in our opinion, it punches way above its price point as far as quality, sound, feel. Let's listen to it and then we'll talk about this thing some more. Orangewood recently reached out to us and asked if we'd like to check out the Sierra Live model. And this represents one of the higher end models that you can get from Orangewood. And ever since we did that Brooklyn Live review, I have been really curious, what are the high end models like? Because the Brooklyn was an amazing guitar for the money. And I thought, okay, let's see what Orangewood can do when they throw the best materials into a guitar. And that's what this is. So this represents sort of the top of the range from Orangewood. And it has a few cool tricks up its sleeve. We'll talk about them more later, but just right off the top, one of the things you get with this guitar is an LR Baggs Anthem pickup system from the factory installed, and probably the thing that was most interesting to me about this guitar, and we'll talk about it in this video, is this top. It's a Sitka spruce top, but it's torrefied, meaning it's aged. And not aged to look old, but aged to sound old. And I think personally, it does make a difference in the way the guitar sounds. All right, so let's talk specs, how this guitar is made and what it's made of. First of all, this is the Grand Concert body style from Orangewood. I would say it represents like the OM style, like a Martin O or OM style. It's a smaller body, sort of a narrower waist. I think this shape of guitar has come into popularity more lately, especially like in the church scene. You see people playing them a lot. It's a little more delicate sounding, typically when you have a guitar that's this shape. It's not as big and boomy as a dreadnought or like a jumbo, but what you sacrifice in that big, huge, especially in the bottom end sound, is you get a very balanced instrument through and through, which I hope you've heard in the playing samples. This thing just rings all the way through the tonal spectrum. It's an extremely balanced guitar, and a lot of that has to do with the shape of the guitar. So the top of the guitar is Torrefied Sitka spruce. We'll talk about what Torrefied means here in a little bit. The back and sides are Palfero. Did I say that right? Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But it is a rosewood-like material. So that's it looks like it. It kind of sounds like it. A lot of companies are using it as an alternative to rosewood these days, but it has that really bright and clear bass note response sound too. Mahogany neck. The fretboard is made of ebony, and it appears to be a very nice piece of wood that they've used on this example. It looks great because it's just such a striking, uniform look, but it's like a really smooth type of a wood too. It feels really good under your fingers. Mother of pearl inlays, and I really like the design of the inlays on these guitars. This 12th fret inlay, it's just a cool look. Ivory colored binding. It has open gear. These are nice. Grover, high-end open gear Grover tuners. It has a Tusk nut and saddle. I gotta get my parts of the guitar right. Nut, saddle, made out of Tusk. High-end stuff. And an LR Baggs Anthem pickup system. So Orangewood has gone top of the line with the materials and the appointments on this guitar. And like I said in the opening, this guitar represents the highest end of what you can get from Orangewood. Now, the reason that they have a guitar that's spec'd like this at this price point, by the way, the price points, you buy these direct from Orangewood. That's their business model. The price points on this is right around $1,200 for the, I think it's like $1,195 or something like that, for the model with the pickup system, and right around $900 if you don't want the pickup system installed. So basically they're giving you the anthem for the cost of the anthem, and then they do the installation for you. So it comes in at a lower price point if you don't want the anthem system. The reason those prices, and I say those prices are low, they're not, it's not a cheap guitar, but for the way this guitar is constructed, the materials that are used, it's a low price point. The reason they're able to do that is because they're a direct-to-consumer company, and these guitars are built in China. So they have a factory in China where these are built, and then they're sold direct, which is why they're at the price point that they are. I'm gonna talk later in the video about this stigma of made in China, what that means as far as quality goes. I think that people are coming around to the idea that really high quality instruments can be made anywhere in the world. What makes an instrument high quality is the person making it, not the person's ethnicity or where in the world they're making it. Let's talk about torrefication. So I mentioned that this top is torrefied, and that means it's aged. Typically when we talk about an aged guitar, usually you're talking about an electric guitar that's relict. That just means they beat it up and make it look old. Torrefication is a completely different process. So for example, I have a 1961 Gibson J45, and the thing just has a sound that you can only describe as magic. Part of the reason why old guitars sound magical like that is because the woods of the guitars have been able to age for years and years and years, like decades. And what happens is the wood dries out. One of the words I would use to describe the sound of an old guitar like that is dry. Like the attack of it, it has that kind of a feeling sound-wise, and it's a really good thing, and it makes it sound special. When you torrefy it, it's a process. Martin does this with their guitars too, and in fact, I think Martin was the first time I ever heard of this kind of a process for an acoustic guitar. And a lot of the things that happen are the resins in the wood harden, and the wood becomes much more resonant as a result. So the top of it feels more alive. It gives you more clarity, more volume, more projection, but it also just kind of changes the way a guitar sounds. I also have a Martin D35 that I bought it was made in '03, so the guitar is like 20 years old. And I started to notice about 5 or 6 years ago, the thing started to sound different. And it looks different too. One thing you might notice on the top of this is it's got like this, I wouldn't call it orange, it's more of like a bronze color to it. It's kind of a caramel kind of a looking thing. And I think that that's also a part of the aging process. And that happens with guitars as they age. The color shifts a little bit. That could be artificially done on a guitar like this. I'm not exactly sure. But it's all in an attempt to make this guitar sound and look like it's old. Not old as in beat up, but old as in like the wood is really old. I really think it makes a difference. Now, I don't have like a version of this guitar that hasn't been torrefied to compare it to, but when I play it, I hear and I feel that thing that I feel with my Martin a little bit, but with that Gibson especially. It's a different sounding guitar, but it has that old sound to it. And I hope that comes through in the playing samples as well. Is it marketing gimmick? Maybe, but they are actually doing something physically to the wood to change it characteristically, the way it sounds, reacts, and looks even. So I think it's a cool thing. Most of the time to get into a Torrefied top on a guitar, you're looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Like I've been looking at those Martin, I think they call them, I forget what they call them, but the Torrefied top Martin guitars, you're like $4,000 or $5,000. This gets you in that ballpark for much, much less. I'd like to demonstrate for you the pickup system in this guitar. Like I've said before, it is an LR Baggs Anthem, and we've done a ton of stuff on the Anthem, including a full review here at Worship Tutorials, but a pickup like the Anthem doesn't sound exactly the same in every single guitar that it's in. So I want to give you some examples of what this guitar sounds like plugged in. Now, I am just running direct in through the Axe FX3. The reason I'm doing that will become apparent in just a bit. So initially, all I want to show you is there's no processing happening in the Axe FX right now. This is essentially the same as just taking this guitar and plugging it straight into a mixing desk. This is what it sounds like straight out of the guitar. So now I've rolled it into the piezo position. That was full mic position. Now here at Worship Tutorials, we are team piezo. If you say piezo, we'd rather not hear it. Okay, it's piezo here. I've said many times before, I think all piezo pickups sound pretty gross. The piezo that's in the Anthem system is the LR Baggs Element. It sits right under here. That's what a piezo does. It sits right under. The reason that it's in there is because the piezo handles, like, there's a frequency range where it's like all the frequencies below a certain number. All the very low frequencies are handled by the piezo and not the mic. But then you can roll it. You can mix the mic and the piezo together. And I think a lot of that is because you can fight feedback. Although I never have had issues with feedback on an LR Baggs Anthem system. I'm always in the full mic position. Roll that thing into full mic. But this is what the Element piezo sounds like. So as you can very clearly hear, the mic sounds way better. And so I would recommend doing that unless you are fighting feedback for some reason. And even in that case, I would recommend like a notch filter or something. The other thing I wanted to show you is one of the strengths of the Anthem system is how well they work with impulse responses. So I'm going to play you again the direct signal of the Anthem, and then I'm going to turn the impulse response on. And it sounds really good. It sounds like this. So with or without an impulse response, the Anthem system in this guitar gives you a really, really natural, great sounding acoustic guitar direct output. And if you're in a mix and your mixing engineer, front of house person knows what they're doing with acoustic, you can make this thing sound really, really good. I want to spend a few moments just giving you my personal sort of reaction to the guitar, my thoughts on it. First, let's talk about country of origin. Made in China. That is a thing that has traditionally, especially for those of us in the West, like in America, if we have a made in China product, it's a lower value product. Sort of my first interaction with a high quality piece that was made in China as an instrument is from the Eastman company. So we've reviewed some Eastman instruments. Eastman is a company who is based in China. They have their own factory there. They have handmade instruments coming out of that factory. Electric guitars, acoustic guitars, really, really high-end stuff. So this is kind of the same situation. So the quality of an instrument comes down to the quality of the materials that go into it, the skill of the person or the people who are assembling, building the guitar, and then like what are sort of their standards of quality that they adhere to as they're building it. And you can meet those at a really high level anywhere in the world. You can meet them at a really low level anywhere in the world, including right here in the USA. There's a lot of stuff that's made in the USA that isn't great. There's a lot of stuff that is great. There's a lot of stuff that's made in China that isn't high quality and that's more budget friendly. But there are things, this being an example of one, of a very high quality instrument made in China, made by people who know what they're doing with guitars and made to a really high spec. So, if you would choose to purchase a guitar based on where it's made to support, like if you're going to buy only made in America guitars because you want to support that, that's great. But I just wanted to take a moment to say, like, I would not be afraid of the made in China moniker on this guitar. It's high end. Let's talk about the neck, the way it feels. I really think they nailed the neck profile. It is extremely comfortable. I would say it's not a narrow neck. It's not thin. It's just a really nice, comfortable C shape. One thing that they really did well is the fretwork and the edge of the fretboard. It's nicely rolled over. It feels kind of worn in. It doesn't feel like old, like it's relic, like there's grooves in it or anything. It's just nicely rolled over and very comfortable. It's just a really great guitar playing experience playing this guitar. It plays really well. The back of the neck is a satin finish. And it feels really nice. I personally really like satin finish on the back of a neck. This isn't completely like dry. Like I'm moving my hand across it and it's not like you're you're not hearing that. But it's kind of almost, you can almost say like a semi-gloss, but it's more satin than gloss. Of course, the rest of the guitar is a gloss finish. I feel like they nailed the neck profile. They nailed the feel of it. It feels really good in my hand. If you watch the channel, you know that we have some pretty high-end acoustic guitars in the room. A couple McPhersons. Bradford has another McPherson. I've got a higher-end Taylor, Martin. I have that old Gibson. This guitar, it sits up there in that high quality. Now, it's not a McPherson. It's not a 60-year-old Gibson guitar. It's not a Martin Dreadnought. It sounds completely different than that, and it's just got a different thing. But it does, like, as far as other OM body style, triple O body style guitars, this thing could hang with guitars that are maybe 2 or even 2.5 times its price point, and it'll sound and feel just as good as the rest of those. Which really kind of begs the question. I think this is the question you might have, the reason why you might have watched this video. If you have around $1,000, $1,200 is what this retails for, to purchase an acoustic guitar, is this the guitar you would buy? The difficult thing about the Orangewood is you can't really play these in a store because they're a direct to consumer company. Nick is in the room with me. Nick is a guitar player. Nick, what do you think? If you had $1,000 to buy a guitar, what are you going to buy? He's going to buy a Fender Telecaster. I don't play acoustic guitars, Brian.
No, yeah, I would definitely buy that.
Nick, he's said many times that he really, really likes playing this guitar. Now, and if you compare it to other guitars in its price point, here's another exercise you could do. Look at what Martin builds in the $1,000-ish range. Look at what Taylor, you are basically buying a Mini. Like, that's what you get for under $1,000 from Taylor. You can get a 214 right in this price range. Their 214 is not solid wood back and sides. They're great guitars, don't get me wrong. I would pick this over the 214, just personally. But most of what the major brands offer, like Martin, Taylor, Gibson, in this price point, does not include things like solid back and sides, does not include a pickup system that is this is, like, in my opinion, the best pickup system you can get. You heard what it did direct, especially you heard how well the Anthem system sounds with an impulse response. That really takes it over the top. But you really can't get this sort of recipe of high quality ingredients from many other places at this price point. Eastman, probably you can, but that's the same kind of model. Like, they're building it overseas where it's cheaper to build, and then they're offering it at a cheaper price point. I'm not here to tell you what you should or shouldn't buy. People ask me that all the time, and my initial response, like, especially when it comes to, like, should I buy a Helix or should I buy a Fractal, whatever? And my response to that is, like, I don't want that kind of pressure on my life, okay? I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't buy. Again, I'm not here to tell you that you should buy this over something else. This video exists to show you what Orangewood offers at this price point, and it offers a lot. If it were me, I would try and play as much as possible the offerings that are available at that price point, and the one that connects with you is the one you should get. Just because a guitar has non-solid wood back and like a composite or layered, they often call it, back and sides, doesn't mean it's not going to sound great. I've played many that sound awesome. I personally really like this guitar. It sounds great. It feels great. It plays great. Like, it sounds great plugged in a mix. Really high quality materials throughout. I think Orangewood really knocked it out of the park with this model. Quickly, I want to talk about the buying experience from Orangewood. Like I've mentioned a few times, they are direct to consumer. So you can't just go to Guitar Center or something like that and pick up an Orangewood acoustic and try it out. You have to buy it direct from them or buy it used from somebody if you can find that. So customer service is a big deal. We have dealt with customer service from Orangewood here and there, both in just communicating with the company. But the first one that they sent us got damaged in shipping. It wasn't something they did. When we got it, there was, like, the box got banged and there was a hole in it. And so we got in touch with their customer service, and they were very responsive. And I asked them, I said, what happens? So this was a review guitar that they sent us, right? I said, what happens if somebody buys a guitar and something like this happens? They said their policy is if anything is wrong with the guitar, they ask the purchaser to reach out to them, and they'll send them a brand new copy or brand new model of it, and then you send back the other one. That's exactly what happened to me. This one came in, and it's great. No problems at all. So things do happen in shipping, especially. I've had multiple guitars show up damaged in shipping. It's a huge bummer. It happens. And Orangewood took care of me, and they said that's exactly what they do for other consumers who purchase guitars from them. Orangewood has grown in popularity a lot over the years, especially in, like, church players, because they're really affordable and you get a really high quality guitar for the money. And I've seen a lot of people talk about having, communicated with Orangewood customer service, and it's almost always been a really positive experience. So from our experience and from what we've seen from other people, I would give them glowing remarks as far as the customer service experience and the purchasing experience. Is they've got kind of a neat setup when you buy something from them, the way they communicate with you. It's pretty cool. They give you, they update you like, here, your guitar shipped, here it is. When you get it, they give you all these materials about how to set it up well and all this kind of stuff. So it's been a great experience, a great purchasing experience for us from Orangewood, even though we didn't purchase it. So I want to say a special thank you to Orangewood for letting us check this guitar out. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more reviews like this of other guitars, let us know in the comments. We'll see you in the next one.